Fatovic coming back from Colorado College. Walk us through the overtime game first on Friday.
Well, first, I actually thought our guys played really good. That's one of the best teams in the NCHC. I think they're a team that's looking, obviously, to get in the NCAAs. They got difference makers on their team. Obviously, our first non-conference games going into the altitude, you really don't know what to expect from your young group, but we had a great first period, really good first period, where it was evenly played by both teams. Second period, we thought got away a little bit, and our goaltender, Willette, did an outstanding job keeping it tight. And then the third period, we were that team that just didn't go away. We played right to the end and tied it up late after pulling the goalie, and I thought we had them back on their heels. We're playing on their toes, and then we just made a poor line change, and one of the best players in the country, Lava, we gave him a breakaway and obviously scored. So again, I liked what I saw from our young group. We showed real good resiliency, real good resolve, no quit. That team is an experienced team, and I thought we went toe-to-toe with them in the first game, and like I said, I thought I was happy at two periods of the three.
And then moving into that second game, what do you think changed from Friday to Saturday that the result was that different?
A couple things. Really didn't like our start at all. I think it was a mindset. I think we showed a little bit of youth. I think when you lose a game like we did on Friday, it stings you mentally. And I did not think we were engaged the first 3 minutes. That's why I called the timeout. What I did like, after the timeout, if you watch the video, we played really well in consecutive shifts. We got back to playing on our toes, downhill, put them on their heels, and I liked the last 15 minutes of the first period. Second period was good as well. We kept it pretty even, and I think it was the first or second shift in the third period, because it was a 1-goal or 2-goal game, and we had 2 chances to cut the lead. We didn't convert. Then we made one mistake, and they took advantage of it. And then probably the last 10 minutes of the game on Saturday night, I did not like at all. I just thought for our goalie, we hung him out to dry. We stopped working hard. We missed our D-zone assignments. We were just too easy to play against. I don't think we quit. It's just they got up on their toes and started playing and smelt a little blood in the water and finished the game off. So, but overall, again, 4.5 periods out of 6 on the road against that team, we've talked about taking steps forward and building blocks, and we're going to use the positives out of that series to help prepare for our games this weekend against Anchorage.
Speaking, leading up to it, talk about Anchorage this weekend, what you expect from them, how you guys are preparing.
Again, we're really concentrating on what we need to do to get better. We did get better in some areas that we discussed up there. We had to tighten up our D-zone, which we did. Our line changes were not good. We got better at that. Now we got to look at ways to create a little bit more offense. And what we're going to get out of Anchorage, they're a big team. They get after you physically. They really put a lot of pressure on the puck in their forecheck. So we're going to have to make some plays under pressure. And hopefully if we do that, it leads to us creating a little bit more offense at the other end.
And then just to end it on a personal note, your first time back on the bench at home as a Wildcat, what are you personally looking forward to this
Yeah, looking for it. I'm more about the guys. Everybody knows it's a total rebuild. We've got a lot of youth, and everything's foreign to them. And just seeing their growth week to week has been a positive for me. So it's another weekend for us on Friday night. How do we get better? And how do we get better and try to win a game? But to us, it's about the process, not necessarily the results right now. And I see us trending in the right direction.
Okay, Coach. I didn't get the chance to watch it, but it seemed like a very wet game down in Grand Valley. Just want to kind of talk about it.
Oh yeah, so we pulled up to the stadium, got off the bus, and Coach Wooster was right there waving me down to come over and have the meeting with his training staff, game operations, and our trainers, and just making sure we had a good plan, and we did. We, fortunately they had an indoor. We were able to go in there and warm up and make sure that we got everybody loose, and that way hopefully the Lightning was going to push off and be able to still start on time for a 7:06 kickoff, and we were able to do that. And so that part of it was really good. And then of course it did rain That first half was extremely wet, a constant pouring down, and I think it lasted all the way up until like later in the fourth quarter, and then it finally stopped. But definitely a wet game. I think you could kind of feel and see it from the passing game. Both teams combined for 16 attempts total in passes, and it was really tough to hang on to the ball at times. And that I think it was okay. I think that part of it actually we had a good mindset to think that it was actually going to help us in terms of the conditions, and I think we did a good job to just try to play right through that.
So I feel like a bright spot, the 206 rushing yards against a team that I believe was top 10 defensively against the run nationally. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from that unit, and specifically it's coming from different guys every time?
Yeah, I think one of our big themes this week was courage, and it might sound kind of simplistic, but we wanted to just make sure that our mentality of approaching this game had just a courageous thought behind it in terms of attacking the opponent and really coming off the ball hard. And I think what you saw is our offensive line was actually probably more responsible than anybody for all those yards that we gained on the ground. And I just think like we did such a great job of making sure that we took our characteristics and attributes into the game and not worried about who the opponent was or how they were ranked or what the environment was. And I thought our team just did a really good job of that. And so offensive line, when you go back and look at the film, there were so many times that those guys were running downfield and pushing the pile for 2, 3, 4, 5 yards extra. And what an invigorating feeling it is for the sideline to see that and to see our guys working together and doing that together. And it's hard to kind of pick out the ball carriers, right? I mean, Vince had the long run there at the end that kind of contributed to that. But other than that, I thought the offensive line and everybody blocking just did a fantastic job of just attacking and being physical and having a good attitude towards it.
So looking ahead here, you get a new opponent in your building, another team that's also looking for their first win. What's the message to the team to get the job done this week?
Yeah, it's kind of what I talked about there of establishing that courage as you go into every game. And I think we've been really poor at judging our opponents probably, and maybe consciously or subconsciously, good or bad, and we haven't just thrown off that hindrance and just attacked the opponent in such a way where we're focused on what we're capable of doing. I think versus Grand Valley, we kind of were able to move past that a little bit and establish that. And what I told the team was that's the standard of how we have to operate. We have a goal just every game, every time we play the game. What we want to accomplish is being able to have the mindset of focusing on how we play and not who we play. And it goes back to that. Just if we can focus on our details, if we can focus on our process, if we can focus on what we believe in, don't worry about all the external things, we can have great success. Now we've got to clean up the execution. That's kind of the part B of the message this week. Going back, a lot of sloppy plays, a lot of bad execution. We missed a lot of tackles on defense. Offensively, we missed some reads and just kind of some angles that weren't very good. And now we get a chance to maybe, have the combination of what we did really well on Saturday, but combine it with trying to improve the execution and try to put that together for this Saturday.
Okay, Coach, we're, I guess, at the halfway point of the year, breaking the conference schedule. Where do you feel your team's at?
I mean, in the standings, we're tied for second, right? But I think we're doing a really nice job of kind of narrowing our focus every day on just getting better, right? We show up and we don't talk too much about what happened other than just how we're learning from it and applying it into that next practice, that next rep, and preparing for that next opponent. But I'm feeling really good. I mean, I feel really good about how our team has approached the season. Our 4 losses are to quality opponents, and I felt like we learned a lot from every one of those losses. And so to be at the halfway point and be in a position where you're saying, hey, you're in the discussion near the top of the conference, hey, you're in the discussion near the top of the region, it's a pretty good place to be.
So kind of reflecting back on the 6-game homestand, you went 5-1, a big win over Tech. And I guess winners of 8 of the past 9 that kind of started with that St. Cloud win. Do you look at that St. Cloud win as kind of I don't want to say like a bounce back because it's early in the season, but kind of just a building block for what you did at home?
Yeah, I think as a staff and as a team as a whole, we felt really good about the progress we had made from the first day we reported for camp until this point. But there are moments in time during the season that can accelerate your progress. And I think beating a team like St. Cloud, who was number 7 in the country at that moment, I think they're number 4 or 5 in the country right now, that can really kind of spark something where the team has a little bit more buy-in than they already did to say, hey, what coach is saying is he's not blowing smoke. Like, we are capable of being great. And we showed that in that one moment in time. And I think that accelerated us and allowed us to be as successful as we were coming out of that tournament and into conference play, where you just have this level of confidence that maybe you wouldn't have had you not won that match. And even the one loss we had, right, in the 6-match homestand against Ferris. Ferris is number 4 in the country. We beat them in set 1. We lost in set 3, 29-27. So we're competing with the best teams in the country, and it's not that the other team is giving us points. We're going out there and we're asserting ourselves, and it's just a matter of how are we taking that approach for every opponent, and that has been our biggest stumble from the last 6 matches, in my opinion, is when teams that we're just better than on paper right now, we're not showing up and proving that. We're having to feel teams out. We're, losing sets maybe we shouldn't be losing. And going into this last weekend is a perfect example. Tech, we went in 4, and it was a good match, and we played well. And then we go and play Roosevelt, who right now is just not a great team. Will they get there? Maybe. But right now they're not a good team. And we give up that first set, and we had to grind the rest of the match. And we just have to learn how, good teams take care of opponents they're better than. They show up, they're ready, they're focused, they get the job done, and we're not that team right now, and that's kind of where our focus has been the last week.
So looking ahead here, second trip down to Hammond within the last month. You got a rematch with Finley. You also got UIndy. What do you expect of those 2 matchups?
Yeah, we'll see. I've been talking about that Finley loss a lot in the locker room and with the team about, hey, I think the team we are now is better than Finley. Now it's time for us to show up and actually do it. But I'm really excited to have that rematch. And then Indy's a quality team. I know their coach well. He always has their team ready to go. They play fast, really athletic. And, this whole weekend, this crossover, they bring every team in the region to one location. And the goal of this is to figure out who the best teams in the region are for the selection committee, which I'm also a part of. So this will be a really fun weekend for me as one of those people in the committee to watch all these teams that are playing at a high level and see kind of where things shake out. For us, it's another opportunity to play 3 quality opponents and see where we stand. But, if we can perform well, we're putting ourselves in a really good spot. So I'm excited.
Recap your road trip downstate, a 1-1 draw to Davenport, and then a 1-2 loss to Saginaw. Just kind of talk about those 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just really proud of the guys for the effort this weekend. It's tough to look at those results and be like, yeah, it was a good weekend. No, but they battled. Away to those 2 teams is always going to be really tough and tactical. Davenport on Friday night, really tough place to play. Their turf is difficult to sort of connect passes. They're a very strong, direct team, and our guys were up for the physical battle, and I thought played really well. Unfortunate to go down a goal at that time. I think it was kind of against the run of play, but they scored within a minute. So they fought back as usual, and at the end of the day, I think a tie is a fair result of that one, but we had some really close chances at the end to sort of steal a road win, but it wasn't to be. And then Sunday was a battle. You got to look at Saginaw. 2 weeks ago they were number 13 in the country. And they're a tough game, and I think, to be fair, they're probably the best team we played all season, and our guys, again, fell behind a goal and found a way back into it before halftime and really gave everything, and it was just a minor slip at the end, and that's how the football goes, especially in the GLIAC. So the good thing is we got them on Friday, and it's a unique opportunity to sort of get revenge right away, and I know our guys will be up for it.
So speaking of those 2 games,
Yep.
because it's a unique situation, you play both of them at their place, and then you come back home and play them right away.
Right.
Do you think the guys have any sort of extra determination because they just see these guys
Probably.
to get a result at home?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of history with the 2 clubs, and we've been close every time we play them. And again, when you look at the GLIAC, you always circle Saginaw because they're just class. They, from the coaching staff to the players, they're just a really good program, and that's who we aspire to be. And you got to sort of beat the best to be the best. And having a close, tough loss like that, I think, just gives that extra motivation. It's a big weekend for us. It's our last home weekend. Friday's International Student Day, so we'll have sort of an extra crowd there. Sunday's our senior day for our guys at Davenport, so it really doesn't get much bigger in the sense of men's soccer. There's a lot going on for NMU athletics this weekend, so it should be a big weekend. But Saginaw on Friday at 2 is going to be a big one for us, and I know our guys will respond. They always do.
And then finally, just to cap it off,
Sure.
talk about the senior leadership with them being
Yeah.
on Sunday. Just
Yeah.
tell me about the group a little bit.
A really great group. It's a small one. There's only 3. Kyle Cameron, Logan Lozier, and Tomas Alami. Great guys. I mean, Kyle is a newer player for us. Only known him a few months, but really, really great character. Determined to make his dream come true to play college soccer. So for that, I give him a lot of credit. And then, Logan Lozier has been here for me since day one. One of the guys I've been closest with. He's just an amazing human being, smart kid. He's double majoring in like economics and biochemistry. He's just an unbelievable team player. He's actually going to coach with us as well moving forward. So great ambassador for the program, and I couldn't be more proud to have him as part of the senior class. And then of course Tomas Alami. Everybody knows Tommy. He's been such a huge part of our program, and it's not just what he does on the field. I think he has single-handedly helped turn around our culture when he was hurt, when he was not on the field, and I think that speaks volumes for him as a person and his character. So at the end of the day, I think that's what means the most, is the legacy you leave off the field. And these 3 guys are leaving that. Obviously, they're great players. Each one of them has their skills, but I think it's their legacy as people and ambassadors at NMU that's the most important. And we're just going to celebrate Sunday and hopefully get them the win.
Obviously, nice to go up to Houghton and get a win. Just tell me about the game Saturday.
Yeah, like you said, it's great to get a result on the road. Those things are never easy, and it's really trying to look at the positive of the whole experience, and that is the win. Anytime you go up to Houghton, it's hostile. It's a tough place to play, especially considering you're traveling the day of, different type of locker room, different type of game day feel, and so I think one of the really positive things to look at is good teams find a way, and I really felt like we found a way to get a win when we were not playing our best. And so that's the overriding message is good teams find a way, and we found a way on Friday.
And then you got Ferris State Davenport on the weekend. Just talk to me about the road trip.
As I mentioned probably multiple times in here, and it's just that the road is tough. You know what I mean? And in order to be successful on the road, there's certain key indicators that we look towards, and I think it's going to be especially important heading into Friday's match that we're able to execute a little bit better than we did last Friday. And Ferris is a very quality team who's got a good result on the road against Purdue. They've got some really good weapons in terms of their attacking and the way that they build out. So they're 100% going to be ready, and we have to make sure that we're a little bit more prepared for this upcoming Friday than we were for the last one. And then, as each and every time, I think we'll look towards Sunday. It's kind of a distant thought right now based on the fact that we got to fully focus on Friday's match first before we get towards Davenport. And there's enough positive things to say about Davenport in general, so it's something that we'll look towards after Friday.